Hello viewers, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to have a deep insight about the topic granulation. So what is granulation? Granulation is basically a process of combining smaller particles to make bigger particles. Smaller particles adhere together to form bigger particles. Granulation is a very important process in the production of pharmaceutical dosage forms like tablets, capsules and other dosage forms. Now what is it significant? It is very significant, especially while we are making tablets, because when we put our material in the hopper, we want that it should be have increased flow properties so that it does not get stuck into the hopper. Now the compressibility should be good so that while we are making the tablet, our material should be easily compressible. Next come the content uniformity. Our API should be equally distributed in all the materials, all the tablets we are making. Then comes the separation of the blend. All the materials we are using for making a tablet like excipient, salt, API should not get separated in between. Last point is this process helps to achieve improved yield. The yield is enhanced and the manufacturing defects are decreased. Now we talk about the mechanism. First of all, when particles come together, the adhesive forces act, then the force at their surface starts to act, interfacial forces, then the mechanical interlocking takes place, and the attractive forces between the solid particles comes into play, and the formation of solid bridges occurs after solvent evaporation. Granules are formed. Granulation takes place by following steps. First one is nucleation. Second one is transition, and third is wall growth. Nucleation is basically when nuclei of the particles attract each other, it is nucleation. Then the transition states, when some particles come together to form transition, then they come more closer to form a ball-like structure. This is called ball growth. More particles get attracted towards it, and this form structures like this, as you can see in the image. Now, what are the types of granulation? Granulation is basically of three types. First is direct compression, dry granulation, and wet granulation. First, we talk about direct compression. Direct compression is most straightforward and easiest process when it comes to the granulation. It contains only two steps. First, the blending the API with the excipient and compressing the finished tablets. As you can see in the image, we put the drug in the grinder, then we blend it with the adjuvants, all the things we need to add like excipient, salt, etc. Then we directly compress to make the tablet. Examples of direct compression are few crystalline substances such as sodium chloride, sodium bromide, and potassium chloride, etc. Now we talk about dry or compression granulation. In this process, the compaction of the components of the tablet formulation by means of tablet press or specially designed machinery, followed by milling and screening prior to the final compression into a tablet takes place. When the initial blend of the powder is forced into the dies of the large capacity tablet press and is compacted by means of flat faced punches, the compact masses called slugs are formed. Let's understand it with the diagram. As you can see, this is the blend of our API and excipients. We can do this by two steps: slugging and roller compaction. In case of slugging, the tablet compression machine is used and slugs like structure are formed, which then undergo milling and sizing to form granules. In case of roller compactor, these flakes are formed which undergo milling and sizing to form granules. This step can be repeated again twice or thrice if we don't get the desired result at once. The examples of the tablets that undergo granulation by this method are aspirin and vitamins. As we know, aspirin is hygroscopic in nature, so we have to do it by dry granulation only. And vitamins like granules are filled inside the capsules, so that we don't want that moisture goes inside it. It will get spoiled. Its pharmaceutical activities get reduced. So capsules of vitamins like Bicasol, for example. This is the image of a roller compactor. You can see the hopper at the top. From here we pour our material, then it's these are the rollers. The material pass from them, flakes are formed here, and then the milling and sizing takes place at the bottom. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of dry granulation? First, we talk about the advantages. Less equipments are needed, only 2 and 3 steps, as you can see. Binding solution process is eliminated. We are not adding any solution in it. The cost is low and less time is consumed. Now, what are the disadvantages? Disadvantages is heavy duty tablet press machines is required. It does not permit uniform color distribution, and also in this method, dusting problem appears. Now we talk about wet granulation. Wet granulation forms the granules by binding the powder together with an adhesive instead by compaction. From the name we are understanding there's something liquid, something aqueous we are adding so that the granules get bind. We are adding a binding agent. In the first step we are weighing and mixing all the ingredients that are required. This step involves weighing, sifting, introduction of the specified quantity of the drug substances, bulking agent, fillers, diluents and disintegrants into a powder mixture. Second is preparing the damp mass. The binder solution is mixed with the powder and the mixture to form an adhesive mass which can be granulated. Now the third one is wet screening. Screening is the damp powder into the pellets or granules. The wet mass powder blend is screened using 6 to 12 mesh screen to prepare wet granules. Drying of the moist granules. The screened moist granules are dried into an oven at a controlled temperature. In the next step, the sizing the granules by dry screening. The dried granules are passed through a screen of smaller size than that used to prepare the moist granules, as here depicted in the image. Is step sizing the granules by dry granulation. Step 6 is lubrication of the granules after dry screening. The dried and screened granules are separated into coarse and fine granules by shaking them on a mesh sieve. Then in the last and the final step, compression of the granules into the tablets takes place. Here the mixed granules are compressed in a single punch or multi-station tablet press fitted with the appropriate punches and dies. The example of few tablets that undergo wet granulation are paracetamol and sulfadiazine, also called sulfa drug. This is the image depicting the wet granulation. As you can see, drug is poured into a grinder. Then in the blender we add the adjuvant. Then the agglomeration takes place. Liquid is added. Then pellets are formed. Then pellets are dried. Then it undergo screening. Then we blend it with the lubricant and do the final compression. The second image is showing the thing at molecular level, which includes pendular, funicular, capillary, and droplet stage. Now we talk about advantages and disadvantages. First of all, it's a robust process suitable for most of the compounds. For many tablets while making, we use wet granulation. Imparts flow ability to a formulation, can reduce the elasticity problems. Coating surface with hydrophilic polymers can improve wettability. Wettability is enhanced. Binds API with excipients. The binding of the API with the excipient is really very good in wet granulation. And we talk about disadvantages. It's expensive, as we can see many machinery is involved, so more time is taken. Specialized equipments we are using. Stability issues for the moisture sensitive and thermolabile API with aqueous granulation comes. Now we discuss about the difference between dry and wet granulation. So dry granulation is a process of forming granules without using any liquid. We are using no liquid in dry granulation, while in wet granulation we are clearly adding the liquid. In dry granulation involves the direct compression of finely ground powder, while in wet granulation involves mixing of the powder with the granulating fluid, followed by forcing through a sieve to make the tablet. In dry granulation, it requires finely powdered compound and tablet pressers or roller compactors. In wet granulation requires powder particles, a granulating fluid and a sieve. Dry granulation is required when producing tablets from highly moisture and heat sensitive compounds, and wet granulation is required to avoid the destruction of active components in the powder. So finally we summarize our topic. This is a flow chart showing all the three processes. The first one is dry granulation, second one is direct compression, this is wet granulation. You can see it is a long process, multiple steps, so it is more time consuming, more costly. but believe me, it is going to give you the best results because the flowability is enhanced, the compressibility is enhanced. So we are going to get a very good tablet in case by bread granulation. Thanks for watching. Please like and share.